Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you play it again?
I would play it again.
Would you add it to your collection?
Probably, yeah.
Let's go clockwise.
That's fine. I enjoyed the game, except that it did become a little repetitious. Might be more interesting if, instead of being when you don't know the game, if you decide that you know it, in future plays you draft your skills. They do a rule for that in there, which then places skills you might want to try with that character out of your class, which means you don't get the reroll. So you lose the benefit, but you might get a skill that you prefer to have. In other words, if you wanted all red,
you get a much more
all red
attack.
icon weapon skills. For instance, instead of like my character had a mix of purple and red because I was a shaman, supposedly, I guess, with a big sword. I was a shaman with a big sword, so like half my attacks were physical and half of them were magical. If you wanted to draft a focus, or if you wanted to draft all healing cards that had no attacks at all and play a pure healer, you could probably do that. But some of them would be out of class and you'd lose your reroll capability.
Yeah.
But you would be able to do that, so you can customize a lot more with the optional rule of drafting your skills.
And it is cooperative, so in theory, if you're talking to people and like, look, I'm really trying to go for healing, pass me the healing cards, don't bogart, right?
So it's like walking into any other type of game, even up to including D&D and Pathfinder, and everybody agreeing to play a certain orientation with their character instead of the standardization that is provided within the game, which is a great option. I mean, I would say that's a thing. But again, it is rather long for 5 players because the amount of times you have to cycle through each part of the monster is player count plus 1. So you think it's less when you play with, say, 3 players, but you don't do as much, so it's not necessarily less. It takes more turns to do it with less players.
One thing I will say, come back, is while we were at it for a while, it didn't feel like it was dragging on. I was having fun
because our turns are quick. It's like, oh, play it, okay, great.
And since there is, I didn't count, but I think there's like 6 different monsters with their own skill desk, and there's
4 heroes we didn't play with, I think.
9 heroes total, so there's 4 we didn't even use. So that means there's 9 skill decks with 7 cards each. So you could draft and get a variety of skills. So I think that's worthwhile. It's a nice little design. I would play it again, but I don't need it in my collection.
Yeah, I think it's like a $30 game too, so it's not like immensely.
It's not really a price thing. It's just,
well, no, not as far as adding it.
I don't have a group other than this one that would play that game.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is those kind of sweet spot games for me, $20 to $30, are games that I'm like, I can be not coerced, but I can be pushed over the fence by going, yeah, I mean, it's not that great of a investment. If this would have been a $70 game, I would have been like, nah, I'm not gonna invest that kind of money in a kind of situation. So, I'm gonna mirror a lot what you guys said so far. I think obviously we went with the standard set of skills to not complicate our life because we didn't even know. I mean, draft, great. I don't know what I'm looking at, right? I mean, so you can't open like that. So what they put together for my character didn't feel wrong, right? I mean, it played the flavor. They're looking at the art, and he's like a werewolf, and he just smashes, and so that worked in that sense. But there were a couple of cards that I'd never basically used because I'm like, I don't need this. I'm just smashing face, right? So yeah, I mean, I think drafting would be interesting. Different monsters is interesting. It did like I said, going through that killing phase that many times. Lost my interest after a while. I'm like, okay, well, we can get to this guy, especially once the meat shield tactic. I don't know if we got to kept up in round 3 with him having more damage or whatever, not, but it seemed like it worked.
It might have been.
Well, it was the same attack cards. The only time it went up was when Rage went up.
Yeah.
You know, if I was to suggest a house rule for variety, is that you change monsters when you change monster level.
Oh, that could be kind of cool.
That would be cool. That way you kill that monster, you go
pull
to a
that
different monster
out at the first level that you're playing it against, and you put in another one and play it at its mid-level, and then you pull it out and play another monster in at the legendary level.
Because you get a new set of minions, too.
You'd have a huge variety then.
Yeah, that could be kind of cool.
I like that idea.
Yeah, that's a great
idea. I
idea.
like that a lot. That's a good one.
So I'm usually not big on card games. I think I don't have anything in my library that's like this, so I would definitely play it again, especially with that variant. That's intriguing. I would draft it, I think, and then yeah, I would probably add it. The price point is sweet for me to go. It's a card game. Yeah, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I definitely think it has a lot of versatility once you start talking about, different things we could add and change and do to it. So, yeah, I would definitely play it again. Don't know if I would add it to my collection because I have the same affliction Mike does, that like this is my game group. So like, would we?
Yeah, it's. I think it's accessible to beginner players, but it's not a beginner player type of
Yeah,
game.
totally.
There's some stuff to consider, especially when you're working with a group. One thing I did forget to mention: I hate D6 based games. Because the spread of possibilities there, and as we've seen, one is the only number I don't need, and one comes up 15 times in a row, and you're like, son of a
You're
biscuit.
just mad.
So
And I believe there's enough item cards that if you wanted to throw a house rule and everybody starts with an item card, it might become more interesting.
That
can be cool
Yeah.
too.
Lots
Yeah.
of different ways to.
Yeah, so it's just that six-sided die is my bane, man. We're just having this problem with the previous game that we played, so anyway.
For me, it's a yes and yes, and I want to tell David I really like his game because to me it is an MMORPG in card form, board game form.
Yeah.
And for anybody that doesn't know that means, it's a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. This really, to me, because I'm a video game player going into board games and card games, this really to me is you do that grind where you sit and you have someone who's just taking all the hits. You got people in the background doing damage to the monster, and you got someone who's just sitting there keeping the tank alive so that he doesn't wipe the entire party. And that's really what that game was. He just nonstop was taking those hits. We all took a little bit of damage from AoE type stuff. Healer got everybody back in this,
There
good
were
settings
times.
and just kept him alive. And we were going through the monster, and it was just, it's a grind. I feel like it's a grind, but I enjoyed it. I liked it.
There were times where it was beneficial to not taunt and let
Yeah.
everybody dealt a little bit of damage.
Right, just yeah.
But for the most part, it's like,
Right.
Okay.
Come in.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We've been having some internet connectivity problems, so our episode has been getting splits in a million things. We're going to join them up together and fix them. I apologize for that, but we rage at our internet service provider, and we're going to figure out hopefully what's going on with that later on this week. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.